glorify you, Jesus. Magnify you, Lord. You're worthy of the glory, Lord.
The kingdom of heaven is at hand. How many's felt a little picked on for the past week or 2 weeks? like the world has singled you out, like every problem has singled you out, like everything that the enemy could release, he singled you out for it to come at you in just a particular way. And if you've been feeling that way, you've been feeling right. It's not just you. Because again, as we endure particular seasons, you have to understand that there's preparation happening for the next season. Now this Wednesday we'll start our 12th month on the Hebrew calendar. So it's coming to a place where the number 12, I've told you, means governmental order. So in order for things to get in order, that means that there's going to have to be some tightening up. And the only way that tightening up can happen is sometimes you have to get grabbed by the nape of the neck and be able to be brought attention to the things that you need to pay attention to. So this past week, that was getting that started to show you, okay, you got to start paying closer attention to some of this stuff. You got to start paying closer attention to what's going on around you as well as what's going on within you, so that you'll know how to change gears, so that you can change levels to get prepared for the new that's going to be coming. Now, for some it'll be a good thing, for some it'll be a bad thing, but now we're coming up on the end of the 5 months that I told you about. Now there's about to be 2 months. After Wednesday, there's going to be 2 months of full preparation to give you a chance to be ready for the new year. Because remember, this year is a leap year. With it being a leap year, there's actually going to be a 13th month instead of 12. So you're going to get a little bit of practice time. And notice I said a little of practice time. I suggest you go ahead and perfect it on the front end so that you don't have to worry about trying to rush on the back end to get ready for what he's wanting to bless you with. Because if you're not prepared to be able to manage what he's going to give you at the new year, it's going to hurt you instead of bless you. I'm just trying to make it clear for you so that you can understand what these next 2 months are really about. Because we're about to look at the next part of the brain, and this is called the Cingulate System. Because last week we concluded with the fact of don't call it like you see it unless and until what you're seeing is future, past tense. So that's going to prepare us to walk into the Cingulate System. The reason that's preparing us for walking into the Cingulate System, effectively managing change and transition, is crucial for your personal and professional growth. See, some of you don't want nothing changed. You want it to stay just like it was. You want it to be just so that you can go ahead and get your mind wrapped around what it's going to be like before you even step into it. And I just want to let you know that's fixing to change. You're not fixing to have all of the details on the front end about everything anymore, because you have to learn how to change gears. Because in order to change gears, you're going to have to change levels. See, if some of you, if you remember your 10-speed bike, and the young breed might still have her bike in such a way that on a 10-speed you could see the different level of gears. and whenever you would change it, you know, you feel it, and it go ahead and change. And see, that's what you've been feeling this past week, is that change trying to happen, and some of y'all tried to shift it back down so the pedaling could stay easy, and it ain't been getting you nowhere. And he's saying you're not going to be able to keep pedaling easy. I've got it changing gears so that you'll actually build some strength and change speed. Because what you've got to understand about this is change is going to happen whether you change or not. That's what you got to understand. Things are going to change whether you change or not. So the idea and what he's trying to get you set up for is so that you can actually get the best out of the change that's going to happen anyway. That's what he's after. That's what he's really trying to give you. So go with me to our scripture that we started out with in Isaiah 43. Isaiah 43 verses 1 and 2. He's laying out a pattern that I need for you to understand. Isaiah 43 verses 1 and 2 is where he says this. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Now I need you to see the difference in both of those and what's being stated. With Jacob, he created Jacob. With Israel, he formed Israel. Now I want you to think of clay, and just to help you understand this. If you just take clay out of a jar or out of the container or whatever you take it out of, and you just let it sit, is it going to do you any good as a bowl if you just let it sit? In order for that to become a bowl, in order for that clay to become a bowl, you're going to have to touch it, you're going to have to form it, you're going to have to knead it, you're going to have to do all of those things in order to get it to where it finally forms what needs to be formed. Now, the clay is there, it's already there as a glob, but it has no form. That's what you got to understand that he's doing with Jacob and Israel. Remember, Jacob didn't get his name changed until after what? The wrestling. It was after the wrestling that his name got changed. That wrestling was forming him. That wrestling was strengthening him. That's what all of these things changing are really trying to do for you, is try to strengthen you to get you into who he's actually designed for you to become while you're here in the earth. See, some of y'all still been in your Jacob state for a long time. And now he's trying to shift you over into your Israel, your chosen state, what he actually wanted to come out of you, what he actually wanted for you to become while you're here in the earth. That's what's going on now. So all of the financial status that you were used to having, he's shaking it. All of the relationship status you've been used to having, he's shaking it. All of those things that you've been used to be able to call a pillar and say it ain't moved, it ain't changed, everything's been fine, it's getting shook right now. And I know what you're thinking, how does he know? how does he know how all of this stuff is going on? Because when you understand what God's timing actually is establishing, you can watch it and see that it's gonna do this for everybody. So you're watching the economy go nuts, you're watching the race thing pop back up, you're watching all kinds of political things pop up, you're watching taxes change, you're watching all of this stuff change all across the nation. And he's saying you got two choices. You can either go with this and get caught up in this, or you can become who I've chosen for you to be. Because if you become who I've chosen for you to be during this time, all of that stuff changing ain't even going to bother you. It ain't even going to shake you. Why can I say that? Watch what he says in Isaiah. Isaiah 43 verses 1 and 2. He says, "But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob,